I could start preaching and probably continue for like 4 days. But I'm sure I'll be the only one left in this room, but I could do it. Because when you look at the liturgy of today, it's thick, right? Palm Sunday has all kinds of symbols and rituals and gestures and phrases that have come out to you from the Passion Gospel and phrases. So if I said to you, what sticks out to you about Palm Sunday, what would you say? This is a dialogue sermon. What hit you about Palm Sunday? Hosanna, Hosanna. That it? What else hit you about Palm Sunday? The Passion. We're warming up. Fear. Ooh, we got some themes. Fear. The flogging. Ooh. Denial. Betrayal. Palms. King. The what? The curtain being torn in two. There's one thing no one has mentioned yet. The donkey. Right? We kind of gloss over the donkey. That's Jesus' vehicle, right, to get into Jerusalem. But take a look at Mark's reading that Deacon Paul read outside. It's page 2 of your bulletins. Take a look at that gospel reading. So Jesus is on his way from Bethany, which was east of Jerusalem. Why? Because yesterday he raised Lazarus from the dead. That's why he's coming from Bethany. He already put his line in the sand when it came to death. And now he's on his way to Jerusalem. And he sends 2 disciples into the city to get his mode of transportation. What were the names of the disciples? We don't know. If you notice, there's no name. It seems like a mundane task, doesn't it? So much so that their names aren't even recorded who actually went and got it. Now, Mark calls it a colt. When you read the other synoptics, there was a donkey, and the donkey was still nursing her baby colt, which is the colt that's mentioned there. Where is the animal located? When you read the gospel, where is it located? In the city. It was tied up where? Front door. Where at? In the street, which is not what Mark says. Mark in Greek says it was at the crossroads. It's tied to a door at a crossroads. Why does Mark make that point? There's an emphasis on where this animal was located. Because you see, the whole feeling of Palm Sunday really is at a crossroads. We are at a crossroads right now in Holy Week. We're in a crossroads right now in our nation. We're in a crossroads at the church. We're in a crossroads of our life. You see, there was more than one procession on Palm Sunday. We all just remember Jesus' procession. But there was another procession that came in the city around the same time, and it was by Pilate and the Roman legions. They were coming. Why? Because there would have been over 1 million Hebrews in the city of Jerusalem at this time. And Rome is occupying them. Rome is a big, bad military force who built a fortress called the Fortress of Antonia, a little bit higher than a temple so they could keep an eye on what's going on. Pilate came into the city with legions of Roman soldiers to make sure the crowd was subdued. This was the symbol of empire. The greatest empire, Rome, but a military procession. So there was a big, bad, powerful procession that comes in. The Roman soldiers, gleaming helmets. They had swords in there. There would have been a drum beat as they all marched in procession, with Pilate probably on a large white horse, showing his authority, coming into the city and making sure every single person in Jerusalem knew who was in charge. This empire that has beat them down, that has oppressed them, which is a symbol of the empire I keep talking about, the empire of death, the empire that comes into the world at our fall, this empire that uses 3 tools of fear, scarcity, and division to hold us in bondage. if you notice in that reading from Mark, how many times does he say that the colt is tied? Take a look. You will find a colt tied. The colt was tied. Untie the colt. If they ask you why you're untying the colt, tell them that the master wants it. So untie the colt. And you know what? They untie the colt. You think Mark's trying to make a point? Yeah. Who's the donkey? At the crossroads. All of us. Lent by now should have taught you that you're the donkey. Anyone in this room stubborn like a mule? Oh, yeah. Oh, raise your hands. It's Lent. Come on, it's Lent. Yeah, there you go. Don't lie now. We're 6 days before the Passion. Every single one of us in this room are like that donkey. And if you notice, the donkey, no one ever sat on the donkey. Why did no one sit on the donkey? Because the donkey was a bit wild. The donkey wanted to do the things the donkey's own way. Sound familiar? Oh, yes. So we have a stubborn, wild donkey at the crossroads. And what crossroads are we at as people? There's two processions into the city. There's the empire of death that comes in, the symbol of Pilate, and then there's the empire of life, Jesus. He comes into the city just like Solomon came into the city on a donkey. He comes the exact opposite of the empire of death. Pilate comes in triumphant and oppressive and letting you know who's boss. Jesus comes in meek, riding a donkey. And notice that that donkey is tied. We are bound as a people to this empire. We are bound to people. We are bound to fear. We are bound to division. We are bound to scarcity, and we're not going to let it go. We love to hold on to our fears. We love to hold on to the empire. We are so comfortable with our sin, we don't want to let it go. Turn on the news and look. We're in a world that's filled with fear, that holds you bound in fear, that wants you bound in fear. Someone's coming to get you. Those people that don't look like you, they're coming out to get you. You better get more guns. They're coming at you. They're coming at you now. What are we going to do? If the stock market crashes, if the economy goes to tank, scarcity, division. We're red states, we're blue states, we're liberals, we're conservatives, we're Democrats, we're Republicans, you're Catholics, you're Protestants. We love to divide, and we hold on to the empire because we are like that tied donkey. And what does Jesus say? Untie it. This week is about Jesus untying the empire in us. He comes to free us. He comes to free us from the bondage of fear, scarcity, and division. You hold in your hands palms, not because we have to give you little things to fidget with during the Eucharist today that you can smack around. Father Kevin was tickling me at one point. Right? What do these symbolize? Why do we grab palm branches? Why? If we were first century Jews, this symbolized that Jesus was the Messiah. They believed that when the Messiah would come, he would come during the Feast of Tabernacles. During the Feast of Tabernacles, they would have taken palm branches on the last day of the feast, and the priests would have begun circling the altar with palm branches. And guess what they were singing? Hosanna, which means save us. And the priests would begin to beat their palms on the ground. And the more they began to beat the palms, the more that the leaves would fall off because they believed he would come to forgive their sins. And so first century Jews grabbed the palms and began to ritualize the Feast of Tabernacles because Jesus the Messiah is coming to us. And the Romans would have seen it in completely different ways. Because when you made a victory, you were crowned with palms. And so grabbing the palms in your hands, donkeys who are at the crossroads, you are making a choice. Choice to hail Jesus as the Messiah. Choice to hail Jesus as the victorious one who has come to untie you, who has come to free you and who has come to destroy the empire under his feet by his passion, death, and resurrection that we celebrate this week. So what are you going to do this week? How are you going to treat this week? Are you going to be like the unnamed disciples because this is such a mundane task? You're just going to go through your week just like you always do? Are you really going to believe what you hold in your hands this week? Are you really going to hail Christ as the Messiah? Are you going to hail him as your victor king? Are you going to allow him to untie the empire in you this week? To get rid of fear, scarcity, and division? Will you walk with him this week as he goes to battle for you? To destroy the empire for you? To bring you freedom and to untie you? And when you do, he can ride on your shoulders. Because the only way the people of Jerusalem saw Jesus is because the donkey held him up. The only way the world will see Jesus Christ is when you allow him this week to untie you, to free you from the empire, so that you can truly say, Hosanna, save us, Son of David, for you are the King, and you've come this week to destroy the empire.